حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O humankind, behold, we have created you all out of a male and a female, so that you may come to know one another. We have made you into nations and tribes, so that you may come to know one another. Verily, the noblest of you in the sight of God is the one who is most deeply conscious of Him. Behold, God is all-knowing, all-aware. Sadaqallahul Azim. Thank you.
On behalf of the United Christian Parish, Pastor Marcus, who will be joining us remotely, and myself, we are so delighted to welcome everyone here, those who are physically with us in this room and those who are watching with us online. It is always one of our favorite services throughout the year, this time when we get to gather together with our community of brothers and sisters of different faiths, celebrating the diversity, celebrating what it is that makes us all children of God. As we come together this time of year to remember all that we have to be thankful for. We are especially reminded when we look around the world it's easy to think of all the things that are going wrong and the things that we want to change and how we want it to be different. But to take this time tonight to think about what we have, to be grateful for who we are and how God has created us to live in this community together. So thank you for being with us, and please join me in the call to worship. This is the day to gather, to give thanks and pray, to open our hearts and sing peace. How good it is to gather, to see the sacred shrine across the community and around the globe. This is the day to gather, a diverse tapestry woven through love's sacred threads, strengthened in difference, not tattered in fear. How good it is to gather, to put the leaf in the table and throw the doors open wide. This is the day to gather as one family and celebrate life as friends, to say no to oppression that starves the last and binds the least, to say yes to hope and live into peace. How good it is to gather, to be the change our world needs, to love kindness, do justice, and walk humbly side by side. And our opening song is going to be presented this evening by our UCP Adult Choir in Thanksgiving.
Good evening, everyone. Thanksgiving is a secular holiday. It's designated not by some religious event. It's designated by government action. And that's why on a Thanksgiving celebration, we politicians play a role as well. It's not unlike Memorial Day or Veterans Day, but it's special too, and that's why we come together tonight. You know, some say that Thanksgiving began when some settlers, colonists, came to what's now Berkeley Plantation, then Berkeley 100, in 1619, and they fell to their knees and thanked the Lord. But I would suggest to you, your thanks then was to get off that ship, because you see it was a small vessel and they were about a month overdue because they had blown off course. But some say Thanksgiving really started a couple years later up in Massachusetts Bay Colony, where the indigenous people and the colonists got together. Now, you didn't hear much about the 1619 event in Virginia because within a year it was wiped out by the Powhatan Indians. You see, they objected to having their land taken without compensation or without consultation. And likewise in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, the indigenous people were forced out. But modern day times, if you can call it that, or after colonial times, George Washington, so delighted with the progress of the nation, issued a proclamation that every year we should give thanks for what we have in this nation. And that lasted only for his term because Thomas Jefferson, who came after Adams then, believed in separation of church and state. Though he didn't think you ought to have a proclamation of Thanksgiving, they ought to leave that to the religious community. And it was not then that the Thanksgiving came again into prominence in 1863, when the tide of the Civil War seemed to turn towards the north, and Abraham Lincoln issued a proclamation that on the fourth Thursday of every November, we should offer up thanks for what we have in our country. And that remained the time for our gathering at Thanksgiving until Franklin Roosevelt, for a time after the Depression, moved it back to the third Thursday so that we could have an extra week to shop for the holidays because it was a Depression. And we have now maintained that fourth Thursday tradition. And it's appropriate that we recognize that while it has a secular meaning to it, it has, I think, a very holy and religious meaning to it. Not to us as Americans, but truly to the world. And when we look at the arc of world history, we come to recognize that particularly in our country, the arc is in the right direction. We have so much for which we can be thankful. And parenthetically, I might say that right now I'm quite relieved after the most recent events that we would be thankful. We gather together then to recognize that we've made amazing progress. And we remember what Lincoln had in mind when he talked about the nation coming together. We remember what George Washington said when he celebrated the nation coming together. And we come together tonight, and the beauty of this, I would suggest to you, is in part in this room. Look around you and you will see people of all races, creeds, and backgrounds, people of all religious faiths, coming together because we have a common something, and that common something is a lot for which we can be thankful. The reading today ended with how good it is to gather to be the change our world needs, to love kindness, do justice, and walk humbly side by side. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you, Ken, for those words. I'm Walter Alcorn. I'm a Reston resident and also on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors representing the Hunter Mill District. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you for having me. I, first of all, wanted to see if there are any World Cup fans here today. Any Saudi Arabia fans, perhaps? You know, I woke up early and I couldn't believe the news I was hearing, and I got to see the end of that match. That was incredible. Ken is a state official. I'm a local official, so I'm gonna talk locally a little bit. And you know, I bring up the World Cup because there's a saying that you don't hear quite as much anymore, but think globally, act locally. Those are pretty good words to live by. And I just want to talk a little bit for any of you that might not be familiar with a little more recent history than some of the things Ken was talking about, but the history here in Reston. So for those of you that may not know, Reston was created as a planned community in the 1960s. It was created by a man named Robert E. Simon Jr. And Mr. Simon was a remarkable individual. He created Reston around an idea, actually a number of ideas, but he created Reston as the first open community in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the first community to openly embrace and accept people of all races. This was something right in the middle of massive resistance in Virginia, right in some of the harshest times of Jim Crow. But he did this, and it's one of the reasons that it took him about 55, 60 different banks, I think, to get his development project funded. Nobody wanted to finance a community like that in Reston, but he persevered. And he really set the principles that Reston continues to follow, and actually many of us in this room I know have been in Reston longer even than I have, but I just wanted to note a few of these principles from Reston's founding. So first of all, Reston would have housing for all. I know many of us have worked a lot on affordable housing issues, but it's important to remember that housing for all meant something as the first principle of Reston all the way back in the early 1960s. Number two, Reston would allow residents to live, work, and play in the same community. And we might add worship to that too. Number three, Reston would put the importance and dignity of each individual as the focal point of planning. Now that one requires a little bit of thought, but it's the importance and dignity of each individual as the focal point of planning. Not buildings, not the structural environment, but people, individual. 4, Reston would be beautiful. Nature would be fostered. 5, Reston would accommodate leisure time. 6, Reston would have amenities from the outset, including a library, golf courses, art, and more. And 7, Reston would be financially successful. Well, as Reston has grown, and in many ways Reston now thrives, it's important for us to remember the start of Reston, to remember these principles, to remember the commitment to housing for all. It's important to remember the commitment to an open community, to a community that embraces diversity, that builds on that and draws our strength from that. That's something that as we go into now, I guess the third decade of the 21st century, it's important to pass these ideals along, to share with each other, to learn from each other, and to grow as a community with each other. So thank you all for being here. Happy Thanksgiving.
We greet you, all our relations. We greet you in the name of the Creator. We greet you in peace. We greet you in love. We look upon you right now and we see a beautiful bouquet of what the Creator can only give us. My name is Allie Hall. I'm the president of the American Indian Society, and I'm with my sister.
Hi, my name is Sandra Hope, and I am with of course, with American Indian Society, and I am a citizen of the Hallawasaponi tribe of North Carolina.
Oh. And I'm a citizen of the Lenape Nation of Pennsylvania. I didn't know we were doing that. Okay, here's my titles. But what we would like to say to you today is we understand that this is a day or a time of Thanksgiving, but we know as people that every day is a day of Thanksgiving. We give thanks every day. What we would like to do is to present to you some sand art. Our people have been here for over 49,000 years, but yet we are still one people, and the art that we'd like to give you is not new. We do not believe in purchasing things and giving things that we purchase. These things have been touched by many people who no longer walk on this plane. They are now in spirit world, but they touch these things, and this shows our relationship. This is the Great Spirit. This is the Thunderbird, the Creator. We all have names for him. This is Chuokachur, the sun. We cannot do anything without the sun. So we would like to say to you, this is a spirit song from us. Within us, there are sometimes no words when you pray, because sometimes religiosity will get in your way. But when you want to invoke a prayer, we do like this. There are no words. Yahweh, Yahweh, Elohena, Aehono Shalom Behane, Noe Manohena And that is to say, in so many languages that are a part of our culture, we ask for peace, we ask for love. We say, Wanasheta, which is thank you. Meloimsi Kachmini Hutch, that is my name. So I'll leave these there for you. You are wonderful people of the creation of God.
Sing for joy, sing together as we learn to live a life of praise. Sing for joy, sing together as we grow in knowledge and grow in faith. Come sing the words of David, the psalms of worship and prayer. Come learn the faith of Elijah, who believed when all despaired. Come follow the pathway of Peter, of James and Luke and John. Come sing the stories of Jesus, whose miracles have just begun. Sing for joy, sing together as we learn to live a life of praise. Sing for joy, sing together as we grow in knowledge and grow in faith. Sing for joy, sing together, with one's voice we'll glorify God's name. With every song of praise that rings, with every hymn, and prayers we sing, we write God's word forever. We write God's word forever. We write God's word forever in our hearts. Sing for joy, sing together as we learn to live a life of praise. Sing for joy, sing together as we grow in knowledge and grow in faith. Sing for joy, sing together, with one's voice we'll glorify God's name. With one's voice we'll glorify God's name.
Good evening. I'm Larry Human, and I'm a member of Shorshim Jewish Community and Beth Emet Jewish Community in Herndon. And this is always such a wonderful evening for me to have all of us come together and to share and to learn from each other. And I think if I heard it correctly, I learned something very interesting tonight, a similarity in what the one, I'm sorry, I forget your name, the woman from the American Indian Society in Jewish tradition. So Jewish tradition has lots of words. You know, we have many sacred texts. We have numerous commentaries on those texts. But there's also recognition that sometimes that our words fall short in kind of the highest form of singing or praising God is what we call nigun, which are wordless melodies that do not have any specific words. So I am going to give you a few words tonight from within the Jewish tradition, what we call the Torah. It's more commonly known as the 5 books of Moses. And it's one of the teachings about the stranger in the community. And it's the most common. There are many teachings that are repeated in the Jewish community. This one is repeated the most, about respecting and taking care of the stranger. And who is the stranger? The stranger is what we might call today an immigrant or an alien. It's someone living in your community, but they came from elsewhere. That would be very easy to ignore or scapegoat them. But we're constantly reminded in our teachings that no, that these people are your people, and you should not ignore them. So I'm just going to read a line in Hebrew, and then I'll translate it. V'ger lo toneh v'lo tilchotzenu ki gerim hayachem be'eretz Mitzrayim. You shall not wrong a stranger or oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rajiv Sharma. I live in Vienna, and I am part of an organization called Art of Living. Today, I'll start by saying a Hindu prayer, and then I'll briefly talk about 5 different gratitude offerings that we do in our tradition, which we have been doing for many, many, many years in our tradition. I'll briefly talk about that. So please join me in the prayer, and I'll first say the prayer, then I'll translate. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May one and all be happy. May one and all be in good health. May one and all witness good virtues in life. And may no one suffer from sadness. May there be peace, peace, and peace. So when I was invited to talk about this Thanksgiving, I was reminded of a thing we do in Hindu tradition, which is called yajna. There are 5 yajnas we do, and they are the offerings of gratefulness or thankfulness. I'll briefly talk about them. The first one is the Brahma Yajna, which is being grateful to the divine who has created this, created me, you, and this whole entire creation. This creation is magnificent, and we are part of it. So, how cool is that? So, the second offering of gratitude that we do is called the Devi Yajna, or respecting the nature. The sun, the moon, the earth, water, fire, air. This nature has been supporting us for many, many, many years. This air that we breathe, that you and I are breathing, is the same air that was there millions of years ago. And it is the same air that somebody across the world is breathing, and breathe in and out. So we offer gratitude to the nature. The third offering of gratitude is called Pitra Yajna, which is to our parents, our ancestors, and the elders. Like it or not, we are here because of our parents and their parents and their parents. So we offer our gratitude to them. They helped us come to this place right now. The fourth one is called the Atithi Yajna, the fourth offering of gratefulness to the society, the people around us, and all the people around us. They somehow contribute to our welfare. So we offer gratitude to them. We offer through philanthropy, charity, many things. We don't take them for granted. We somehow get into this habit of taking things for granted, but purposefully reminding us that they are important, and we offer gratitude to them. It doesn't help them, it helps us grow. When we offer gratitude, it helps me grow. It's my state of mind. And the last one is called the Bhuti Yajna, which is being grateful to all living beings. It's not just the human beings, but the plants, animals, even the small honeybee is very important for our living here. So we offer gratitude to all the living beings, Bhuti Yajna. And so the goal is we do all these things every day, so it helps us grow, and we come to it brings purity to our heart and peace in our mind. And in the same spirit, I'll just briefly share that the organization that I belong to, Art of Living, is organizing a World Cultural Festival next fall. So we want to honor and respect and celebrate the diversity, the rich diversity that is in the world. And will be doing it in DC next fall. So I request you all to keep your fall plans a little open for this event. It will be in DC next fall. More details will be coming, and I would encourage you to join and showcase your traditions, your cultures. It will be good to see. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Namaste.
Greetings. I'm Sterling Paulette. I send the best from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ruston. The reading I have selected is entitled Things to be Thankful For. Be thankful for the clothes that fit a little too snug, because it means you have enough to eat. Be thankful for the mess you clean up after a party, because it means you have been surrounded by friends and or family. Be thankful for the taxes you pay, because it means you're employed or have been employed. Be thankful that your lawn needs mowing and your windows need fixing, because it means you have a home. Be thankful for your heating bill, because it means you are warm. Be thankful for the laundry, because it means you have clothes to wear. Be thankful for the space you find at the far end of the parking lot, because it means you can walk. Be thankful for the lady who sings off-key behind you in church, because it means you can hear. And be thankful for the alarm that goes off in the early morning hour, because it means you're alive. I wish I knew who wrote this. The author remains unknown. Thank you.
Adams Youth Choir is honored to be part of this year's celebration as we have in past. Our choir name is acronym, which B stands for Baraka, which means blessing, E for Iman, which means faith, A for Adab, which means our behavior and morals, and T for Taqwa, which means God consciousness in Arabic.
Salam, Shalom, Peace, Namaste, Sat Sri Akal. My name is Ibadah Martinez Jaka. I'm 15 years old, and I'm a Muslim American of indigenous descent of the Lipan Apache. I would like to acknowledge the Manahoic people whose traditional land we stand on here today at UCP. We commit to resisting erasure of indigenous histories and to working towards honoring and inviting the truth. I'm a member of the Scouts BSA organization and am part of the All Dulles Area Muslim Society, or the Adams Center. I'm a student editor, photographer, and writer at the Loudoun County Magazine, which is a nonprofit magazine highlighting community leaders and service throughout Loudoun. I'm a youth officer at the Muslim Youth of North America, serving as the chair of the National Committee for the Isra Initiative. Thank you to the United Christian Parish, Reverend Beth and Reverend Marcus, and the UCP team for hosting tonight's service. I have been attending this interfaith service since I was a baby, and it's always been a highlight of my Thanksgiving experience. Thank you also to Pastor Suzanne, who used to lead UCP and these services going back 25 years, and my family has also been attending since that time. Adams and the United Christian Parish have a long history of partnership and fellowship going back to the 1990s, and we appreciate that leadership and partnership. I'd like to share a prayer with you all, so please join me in prayer in the manner in which you are accustomed. Dear God, help us to remember our duty to you and to our country. Help us to remember that we must help other people at all times and to make the world a better place. Help us to remember that as Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "None of us truly believes until they wish for their brother and sister what they wish for themselves." Help us to stand for justice as we are told to be upholders and bearers of witness to truth. Help us to learn that we are part of a land that embraces all who seek righteousness, decency, and steadfastness. Help us to remember that we believe in civil rights, religious freedom, and respect for all. O Lord, as children of Virginia, help us to grow as citizens who work for the betterment of our brothers and sisters, no matter how small the action. Help us to reflect on your words from the Holy Quran. Anyone who is grateful does so to the profit of their own soul. If anyone desires a reward in this hereafter, we shall give it to them, and if anyone desires a reward in this life, we shall give it to them, and swiftly shall we reward those that serve us with gratitude. And whatever of blessings and good things you have is from God. Prophet Muhammad, peace be and blessings be upon him, said, "One who does not thank people does not thank God." And all God's people say, Amen. Gratitude can be something as small as saying thank you to somebody, to opening a door for somebody, to smiling at someone. And so to finish off, I would like to share a short spoken word poem that I wrote. It is called "The Little Smiles and the Little Laughs." In everything we do, it can feel like a mess. Sometimes we need to pause what we're doing and look around and understand the effort that we're making. Taking that small step forward, even if it leads us wayward. Low notes and high notes coming together. Individually, they may not sound promising, but combined, they're beautiful, harmonizing. Little victories are the fuel that keeps us going, reminding us to keep growing. Laugh at that small thing in the dark, because it will leave a mark. Make the small smiles abundant, even if it feels redundant, because they are a reminder that there is light to help us in our fight. A fire starts with the smallest pieces of wood or bark, which on their own are kind of dire, but when ignited with a spark, they create a foundation for that fire. Our intentions to do our best, to do things even when it's hard, to be brave, to do something even when we're afraid. That is the spark that lights our steps, no matter how small they are, because each small step slowly becomes stronger, building up together. And our steps, big and small, are all worth it. Thank you so much, and peace be with you all, and happy Thanksgiving.
I'm Lloyd Kinzer, a parish associate pastor here at UCP, and privileged to lead in prayer by reading a prayer of the people written by Maya Angelou, and there will be inserts of music throughout. Let us pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for blessing beyond counting, for this land of surpassing beauty, of mountains and meadows, majestic rivers and mountain streams. We thank you for those who have gone before us, who have prepared the way and paid the price, not just the first pilgrims, but for all the brave travelers before and since, the Asian, the Spanish, the Jew, the Catholic, the Muslim, the Protestant, the French, the Greek, the Irish, the rabbi, the priest, the imam, the preacher. We thank you for those who, with incredible courage, left known lands and family and came to build new lives in a new land. Ever-present God, we remember those who have always been here in Virginia, Algonquin, Siouan, and Iroquoian, and all those tribes and peoples who were displaced, betrayed, yet whose proud heritage and unyielding spirit lives on. Remember those who had no choice in coming here, the Africans stolen, bought, sold, arriving on a nightmare. For all who have gone before, may we remember, honor their lives, and live into their hopes. May we with bold hearts give thanks and live a new way. Loving God, we thank you for those brave pilgrims who still came, pilgrims who still come, beckoned by the dream, drawn by the hope that it is the heart of our nation. We thank you for all who bring their own rich gifts to the rich diversity of this land. Through their stories, teach us that history, despite its retching pain, cannot be unlived. But if faced with courage, it need not be lived again. Please join in a portion of the American Creed Mayflower Compact. We pledge to walk together in the ways of truth and affection, as best we know them now, and may learn them in days to come, that we and our children may be fulfilled, and that we may speak to the world in words and actions of peace and goodwill. Amen.
These are beautiful. Sorry. Hi, I'm Mary Saunders. I'm Executive Director of Herndon Reston Fish. And I would like to thank Reverend Leathers and Reverend Williams and the United Christian Parish for organizing this interfaith service of Thanksgiving. I would like to begin tonight by giving thanks to all of you and what you have allowed us to accomplish through your kindness and generosity toward our neighbors in crises. Over the past 2.5 years, your support, combined with various COVID-related federal programs, have helped thousands, actually let me correct that, tens of thousands of people in our communities from facing eviction, cold homes, or hunger. So thank you very much. 53 years ago, a group of neighbors came together to help a neighboring family whose home had been destroyed by fire. Through this experience, the friends noticed a serious need in our community. This group of caring, supportive people founded Herndon Reston Fish. FISH being an acronym for Friendly, Instant, Sympathetic Help. Today, FISH continues to respond to local residents' requests for rent, utilities, medical prescriptions, and other critical needs. In our last fiscal year, with funds donated by people like you all, we helped over 1,300 people, mostly children. But the unprecedented past 2.5 years due to the COVID pandemic have been extraordinary and extremely difficult for so many of our neighbors. With employment cutbacks, job losses, childcare closures, those already hurting economically were even more overwhelmed. The pandemic also hurt those who may have never experienced an emergency financial situation before, like the restaurant owner who we helped. As these federal programs end and inflation increases, which in turn affects rent, utilities, food, and other costs, we will see families reaching out for more help from FISH and other service organizations, like our Connections for Hope partner, Cornerstones. In fact, we are already beginning to see this trend, this desperate need. For example, for us, just in the past couple of months, we have seen our caseload double to almost 70 families a month requesting help. Sorry, it gives me goosebumps just to cite that information. We are thankful for our founders of our organization for their foresight and for those like you and all who are joining us tonight who have helped to keep FISH and our companion human services organizations' missions alive. Tonight, we invite you to contribute to support not only local residents, but others in the Metro DC area that need your assistance to avoid financial crisis, to avoid homelessness, to avoid going hungry. For these neighbors, I thank you so much for your generosity. With Thanksgiving a couple days away, many of us will find ourselves gathering with family and friends. Wherever we are, we will all share love, give thanks, and pray for a better tomorrow. I'm getting myself all choked up. On behalf of those in crises, we thank you for your heartfelt outpouring of love and support. We are eternally grateful. May you all have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
And thank you to all who have participated in leading this service and being a part of it as this evening is really a beautiful vision of what the world could be if we can come together in gratefulness for all that we have and all that we are. We are going to be closing with one of our closing songs. It was a little bit after that, so don't leave after the song. But during the song, we invite you to come forward and place an offering that will be shared with Fish as well as the Capital Area Food Bank. And there's a basket by the door, which I don't think people got. Did people get a leaf as they came in? No. Can you, Kathy, if you would not mind, if we can, there's a leaf and pencils for you to write something that you are thankful for. This is a tradition we've had for several years now, that you would bring forward and hang it on our thankful trees. You can come up on either side. There's an offering basket on each table as well. And we invite you to make this offering be an offering of thanksgiving, whether it is the words on your leaf or a monetary gift or both. We are grateful for all that you have and what you bring of yourselves to this service. So we will be singing now, Thank We All Our God. And the words will be on the screen.
In whom this world
Who are watching and joining us online, they can give to our offering as well by going on to our website. Under Give, there's an option there to select to give to this cause of helping with fish and with the Capital Area Food Bank, or you can send in a check to any of those. And to know that your leaf might not be on this tree, but know that we are grateful for you and that your thanks are offered up as well as those people who are here are present with us this evening. We will now have a moment online with Pastor Marcus.
Thank you, Pastor Beth. A blessing for Thanksgiving season to everyone. And we're so grateful for all who were able to be participants in our service, our Thanksgiving Interfaith service this year of Thanksgiving 2022. And so as we wish all of you the blessings of this time of Thanksgiving and prayers for everyone, it's my privilege to our closing prayer this evening. Almighty God, as of faith, recognize that every season is an opportunity for Thanksgiving. This evening, we have been most fortunate to have gathered for this Thanksgiving Interfaith service, so that in you, our faith together may glorify you and bless our communities. Together in unity, we have brought our prayers to you, offered them on behalf of one another. Together, we have lifted voices in song. We have read from our sacred text, and we have shared this sacred space, both in person and online. As we go from this service of collaborative spirits and generous hearts toward all people, as we look towards tables where family and friends may sit with us, we also recognize that still during this time of COVID-19 pandemic, there are spaces at our tables, loved ones who are missing from us. May we know for our lives the outpouring of your mercy, the outpouring of your goodness, the extension of your divine grace among us. As you have promised, grant us in this world wiser knowledge of your truths, and in the world to come, life everlasting. Your people prayed together. Amen.
We close with our benediction, which is sending out with a blessing.
Help us be steadfast in the true task of all religion, to bring hope to those who are in despair, to bind up the broken-hearted, to feed the hungry, to tend to the sick, to care for each other, to care for the earth, and to bring freedom, justice, and mercy to all who are oppressed in body or in spirit.
Send us forth this evening, united in thanksgiving, full of gratitude, and even fuller of a renewed commitment to bring peace and generosity into our own lives and into the lives of others.
Stay with us and guide our steps in mindfulness, in strength, compassion, and in courage. Help us to heal this hurting world and to honor the sacredness of life.
Blessings on each and every one of us here tonight, here in person and online. Blessings on the world and all its creatures. Inshallah. Shalom. Amen. Blessed be, and namaste. And we invite you to stay and join us in fellowship for a time of refreshment. Those who are watching online, there's a Zoom link, hopefully you've got, that you can sign on to that and greet one another there as well. Thank you all for being a part of this special night.